The engagement dinner was meant to be a night filled with joy. Sophie and Liam, together for 3 years, had invited their loved ones to a cozy Chicago restaurant to celebrate their future. Sophie, a sharp and spirited nurse, looked radiant as she lifted her glass, the shimmer of her engagement ring catching the soft lights. Beside her stood Liam, a calm and gentle architect whose quiet nature always balanced her lively presence. Everything felt perfect until dessert arrived, relaxed from wine, laughter, and the warm company. Sophie playfully teased Liam about his meticulous habits. "I'm going to marry a man who organizes his socks by color. Pray for me when I meet his spreadsheets," she joked. Everyone laughed, everyone except Liam. His smile collapsed, and a clouded look replaced the warmth in his eyes. Sophie didn't catch it, too wrapped up in the cheerful chatter around her. Though he often brushed off her playful remarks, something about being the target of a joke in front of the entire table stung more deeply than usual. He excused himself quietly and headed to the restroom. When he returned, whatever softness he had carried earlier was gone. Sophie sensed the tension but chalked it up to fatigue. Yet during the drive home, Liam remained silent. Finally, she asked, "Did something happen?" His answer came low and strained. "You made me look ridiculous in front of everyone." She laughed at first, assuming he was exaggerating, until she noticed how much pain sat in his expression. "It's not funny," he said, leaning away from her. That night, instead of joining her in their shared bed, he chose the couch. Sophie felt stunned and defensive. Teasing was normal between them. It was her way of softening his seriousness. But this time, she realized too late that she had struck a nerve. She didn't fully understand. She replayed the dinner again and again in her mind. To her, the joke had been harmless, but the words he spoke echoed painfully. "You made me a punchline." For the first time, she grasped that she had poked at a sensitive insecurity. Liam's fear of being dull or uninteresting compared to her bright, outgoing personality. The next morning, she apologized. His response came cold and clipped. "I need some time." Days went by in heavy silence. Liam moved in with a friend, and Sophie remained alone in their apartment, surrounded by wedding invitations, a dress-fitting schedule, and venue receipts that suddenly felt meaningless. She texted him, trying to explain that she never meant to belittle him, but his answers stayed short, distant, and guarded. Confused, she turned to her sister for advice. Her sister reminded her that Liam's quiet personality made public teasing feel like exposure, not affection. Sophie had never imagined how her light-hearted jab made in front of a room full of people might have humiliated him. Guilt swallowed her. She only wanted to make people laugh, not wound the man she planned to spend her life with. Meanwhile, Liam battled his own emotions. He loved Sophie deeply, but her joke cut into an old wound created by a childhood full of criticism and high expectations. Sophie knew fragments of that history, but she hadn't realized how raw it still was. They tried to talk over coffee. Her apology trembled with tears, but Liam's trust had cracked. "I don't know if I can marry someone who thinks I'm something to laugh at," he murmured, leaving her speechless. A week later, he came home only to tell her he couldn't continue. Their wedding was canceled, deposits lost, and Sophie packed her things to stay with her sister. Heartbroken, she kept replaying the dinner in her head, wishing she could rewind time and swallow the joke before it ever left her lips. Friends told her he'd taken things too far, but she knew the truth. Her words had uncovered something fragile between them that they never addressed. She poured all her remorse into a long letter, confessing how deeply she regretted her thoughtlessness. Liam never answered. The silence around her felt suffocating. Sophie drowned herself in hospital work, taking extra shifts to numb the ache. The humor people loved about her faded under the weight of regret. Liam wasn't free from pain either. He buried himself in his architectural projects, missing Sophie more than he admitted. Sometimes he wondered if ending things had been too extreme, but pride and hurt kept him from calling her. Eventually mentioned he was dating again someone much quieter than Sophie. The night that was supposed to celebrate their love had instead destroyed it, all because of one careless remark. Months passed. At a mutual friend's gathering, Sophie saw Liam again. He looked tired, but when their eyes met, there was a gentle flicker of familiarity. Their conversation stayed surface level work, life updates, casual observations, avoiding the landmine of their past. She didn't apologize again. She didn't need to. Her sadness told the story. Liam admitted softly that he still missed her, but the humiliation lingered. Maybe we moved too fast, he said, a small crack of possibility in his tone. But nowhere near enough to reopen the door. Sophie simply nodded. Back home. She kept a photo from that engagement dinner tucked in a drawer, both of them smiling before everything fell apart. It remained a quiet reminder of what she'd once had and how quickly words could shatter it. She started therapy, determined to grow, to understand her impulsiveness, to become better for future relationships. Liam reflected too, wondering if he had allowed a single moment to define their entire future. Their love had been real, but that joke revealed unspoken fractures they never tended to. Months later, Sophie sat alone in a quiet cafe, sketching out what her new life might look like. The engagement ring was gone, but the ache of losing him still lingered. Her careless remark had cost her the person she loved most, yet it taught her a lesson she would never forget. Even innocent words carry weight. Neither of them reached out again, but the future ahead felt wide open. Uncertain. The engagement dinner that was meant to mark the beginning of their forever had instead left a lasting scar. Still, Sophie hoped that one day the lesson would guide her toward a love strong enough to survive even her biggest mistakes. If you like this story, remember to subscribe to my channel for more emotional and dramatic tales.